Every gardener knows the frustration of waiting months for compost to break down, only to discover that the soil still feels flat, sluggish, and lacking in vitality. But what if there was an old-world trick, a practice used by farmers long before industrial fertilizers, that created soil richer than compost in a fraction of the time? Here's the truth. There is, and although it was banned in many places in the late 1800s, it's resurfacing today as one of the most powerful ways to supercharge your soil. This method was so effective at reviving tired land that it threatened the rise of chemical fertilizers, so it was pushed aside. But serious gardeners are bringing it back. Back in the 1800s, before synthetic fertilizers dominated agriculture, farmers discovered that fermenting organic matter directly in the soil gave results that outpaced even the best compost heaps. Instead of slow decomposition, the materials underwent rapid microbial fermentation underground. So this process actually created humus in just weeks, not months, and released nutrients in a form that plants could, well, immediately absorb. Crops grew faster, roots pushed deeper, and the soil was just teeming with beneficial fungi and bacteria. Unlike traditional compost, which needed turning, watering, and, a fair bit of waiting, this method worked quietly below the surface with hardly any effort. But then, authorities later discouraged and, in some cases, outright banned the practice in favor of controlled, marketable fertilizers. Yet today, with our modern understanding of soil biology, we can see exactly why it worked so well. It was microbial fermentation doing the heavy lifting, feeding not just the plants, but the living soil network that actually supports them. So, the principle is actually quite simple. Instead of piling organic matter on top of the ground, you dig these shallow trenches or pits and layer things like green plant material, animal manures, or even kitchen scraps directly into the soil. Here's the thing. The soil itself acts as the compost bin, locking in moisture and allowing microbes to ferment all that material without it drying out. Unlike traditional composting, which tends to burn off a lot of its nitrogen into the air, this sort of in-soil fermentation keeps those nutrients right where they belong, in the ground, nourishing both soil organisms and your plants. And even more importantly, this technique actually stimulates actinomycetes and mycorrhizal fungi, the real microbial architects that bind soil particles together, protect roots, and unlock minerals. So over time, you're not just feeding your plants, you're actually rebuilding the soil's natural structure. Okay, let's get started by choosing a bed where, the soil feels a bit tired or maybe even compacted. You'll want to dig a trench about 8 inches deep and make it wide enough so you can work comfortably. Now, place a mixture of soft green materials like weeds, garden trimmings, or even some vegetable scraps right at the bottom. If you have it, add a small layer of animal manure or some aged bedding, then just cover everything completely with soil. Next, tamp it down lightly and give it a good watering, and well, that's it. Over the next several weeks, the buried materials ferment underground. The soil organisms quickly multiply, breaking down the matter while releasing organic acids and natural growth stimulants. Within a month, you'll notice the soil feels looser, smells earthy, and supports stronger, healthier plants than before. Rotate this process bed by bed, and over time, your entire garden becomes self-renewing with minimal need for store-bought amendments. While compost has its place, this forgotten method gives plants a more direct supply of nutrients and spares gardeners months of waiting and turning piles. By fermenting organics directly in the soil, you're building fertility where it matters most, around plant roots. Gardeners who return to this 19th century practice consistently report faster growth, deeper color in foliage, and improved resilience against pests and diseases. It's living proof that soil fed with microbial life will always outpace soil fed with bagged fertilizer. If you're serious about soil health and want to grow stronger plants with less work, this is the method to revive. Bring back the knowledge that once threatened the fertilizer industry and put it to work in your garden. And if you found this guide helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Gentle Herb Living and share this video with other growers who want their soil alive, thriving, and well, unstoppable.